Makes me upset that he doesn't exist in real life. Not all these fictional men written by women. Please. Can't take it anymore. I actually can't take it anymore. I burned the roof of my tongue last night because a girl really can't wait 2 seconds for her food to cool down. But anyway, welcome to another book rec video for a trope that I used to not enjoy. But then I don't know what happened, but now it's low-key become like one of my favorite tropes. You know, I always think to myself like, dang, I wish that I could have like a childhood friends lovers. And then I look back at all my childhood friends and I'm like, so yeah, that ship sailed for me a long time ago. Like I said, I didn't used to enjoy this trope, but these are some of the books that actually made me like fall in love with it. The first book that I would recommend for this is The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Yes, Jennifer L. Armentrout is the author of like the Lux series and that other popular book talk series, but I forget what it's called because the title's kind of long. Personally, I actually don't really like them that much, but I didn't know that she had this contemporary book that was Childhood Friends to Lovers, and I read it, The Problem with Forever, and I actually really enjoyed it, and it was like a really quick read too. It gives like childhood friends to strangers to lovers. We followed two main characters, Mallory and Ryder, and both of them had been in like, the foster care system. That's kind of how they knew each other from childhood ever since they were like young. Like young. Ryder would always protect Mallory with like literally every fiber of his being. They would have like abusive caregivers. He would always like take the fall or like do whatever he can to protect Mallory. Follow Mallory's point of view, and she specifically has a really difficult time like speaking up and like talking because of what she's been through when she was younger. Mallory ends up moving to a new high school, and turns out that that's actually the school that Ryder goes to, but they haven't seen each other since they were kids. Like they were separated all of their like adolescence pretty much. They just like had lost contact with each other, no idea where each other has been. It's obvious that they have such a strong connection with each other just because they were literally like more than childhood friends. Like I don't even know what to call it when they were younger. I don't even know what to call it. Friends is like too juvenile of a word. Mallory's a new girl, Ryder has like his group of friends and kind of like popular-ish now, but no one knows about like his past. Everyone in his social circle is suddenly like, oh my gosh, like who is this new girl? Why is Ryder like putting off everything in the world just so that he can like spend time with Mallory? No one knows what they've been through together. It's because they have such like a special bond with each other. Nothing can ever come between them. Like I like really fell in love with Ryder in this book because it gives like touch her and I'll kill you. One of my favorite scenes in this book where it actually made me start acting up. It's like one of these hyper specific book tropes that I really like, but it's when the guy like speaks like a different language or something and he says something in the language that they don't understand and like lies about what it means. Us as the reader knows what it means. That hits so good. I don't really know why I like that trope so much. It just is such a good trope. There is this one scene where like Ryder is with Mallory. All of his friends pull up in this car and they're like, oh Ryder, like come. And then Ryder's friend turns to Ryder and says something in Spanish, I'm pretty sure. And then Ryder replies back in Spanish, but Mallory doesn't know what he means. And then we find out that his friend was saying like, oh, who is that girl? And then Ryder said to him, don't look at her. No further questions. Oh, and also Ryder's like a secret artist. What is that trope? Like, you know what I mean? So if you're into that, then read this book. The next book recommendation is honestly adding nothing original to the conversation because it's like hyped on TikTok a bunch as like the best childhood friends to lovers. But I'm gonna recommend it because I read it and I enjoyed it. So yeah, that's Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I don't think it's like the best childhood friends to lovers on the entire planet. Like TikTok is hyping it up to be, but I really did enjoy it. Also, everyone hates like the plot of this book, like the ending. Everyone hates it. I personally didn't have that experience. I don't know what everyone's talking about, but whatever, to each their own. I like this book because it legitimately has flashbacks from like, when they were childhood friends. Basically, we follow our two main characters, Macy and Elliot, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check that. Why can't I remember any character's name? Oh, okay. Their names are Macy and Elliot. Patting myself on the back for the bare minimum. They would spend like summers and weekends together at like a getaway house. Like what are those called? Like a lake house or something. They ended up bonding because they both loved reading so much. Like it's so cute seeing their flashbacks. I love a flashback. They're in the closet and they would just like be reading in the dark together, and then they'll be like, what's your favorite word? Like that's their thing. Like it's kind of like in The Fault in Our Stars, okay? They basically like have been in contact with each other for like a decade. In the present day, they're like adults now. Macy's like just walking along the street and then she bumps into Elliot working in a coffee shop. That's kind of awkward because Macy has just cut off contact with Elliot, but Elliot has just always been like wondering like what's Macy up to. Like she suddenly like cut contact off with me like without saying anything. I think that's kind of like the plot twist at the end of the book that everyone hated. I didn't have that much of a vendetta against the plot twist at the end, but you do find out why. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I really loved Elliot a lot, like definitely boyfriend material. I'm gonna be honest though, Macy kind of did annoy me because she was so like wishy-washy. Can't really blame them because they were like adolescents and puberty, and Macy was low-key just scared of commitment and like Okay, the next book that I'll recommend is one that I've recommended a lot, which is The Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy by Jenny Han. This genuinely like really rose to become one of my like top tier book series. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's like the ultimate childhood friends to lovers, love triangle, brother's best friend, summer beach house love story. Our main girl character named Belly and these two brothers of like this really close family, and she's been childhood best friends with Jeremiah, the younger one, her whole life, but she's had a crush on the older one, Conrad. This book series kind of follows that love triangle. In the love triangle, like the childhood best friends to lovers part, like Jeremiah, he like knows that Belly was in love with Conrad, but he's like been in love with Belly her whole life, but he like never says anything about it, and so he has to just kind of like stay silent, and Belly's like talking to him about Conrad, and it's like so obvious that he's in love with her. It's just like so much angst like on his part, and like so much angst from Belly because she has had a crush on Conrad, but Conrad is like her brother's best friend. And okay, the next book that I recommend is Where the Crawdads Sing by 𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐤𝐬. This is honestly probably one of my favorite childhood friends to lovers. It might have been one of the first childhood friends to lovers that I read that really made me fall in love with this trope, because I read it like almost right when it came out, like pretty early on. I will say though that 𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 has done some problematic things that has come out like after the fact, so if you do want to pick this book up, then I would implore you to like go try to find like a secondhand version of it or something. The movie is coming out and I saw the stills for it. I have been waiting for this movie to come out, and I saw the casting for it like a long time ago, and I was like, this is about to slap. And I saw the stills come out of like the childhood friend, and I'm so in love with him. It's not even funny. It's actually painful how much I'm in love with him. Anyway, we follow a girl named Kaya, and this again takes place over a long period of time. It's also a little bit historical. It takes place in like the 1950s, I'm pretty sure. She is known as like the Marsh Girl. Her entire family just like up and abandoned her, and she has literally had to like live for herself, like in the middle of the woods, literally by herself since she was like a child. And so she's really ostracized by the community and like the town. She meets someone named Tate when they're both like children. They become friends. He would boat over to her. She literally lives in a marsh. This is me being on a boat. He is really like the only company and like only friendship that she's ever had in her life, and he's so wholesome. Like you see them from when they're children all the way into their adolescence, and they were kind of each other's first loves too. You see that progression. It is so romantic. Tate, oh my god, every time that I meet anyone ever and they do anything, I'm gonna be like, Tate from Where the Crawdads Sing would never. He's just so respectful. Literally the perfect man. I can't explain it with any more justice than just saying that Tate is literally the perfect man. So romantic, like so caring. Oh my god, I would actually marry Tate. Makes me upset that he doesn't exist in real life. Not all these fictional men written by women, please. Can't take it anymore. I actually can't take it anymore. You just basically follow her entire life story, but I was mostly in it for the childhood friends to lover story, and by childhood friends to lover story I mean I was mostly in it for Tate. Okay, my last book recommendation that I'm going to talk about is probably one of my favorite books, if not my most favorite literary fiction book I've read, which is Ask Again Yes by Mary Beth Keane. This is an adult literary contemporary fiction book, and it gives you like Little Fires Everywhere vibes because it just takes place in like calm, like seemingly typical suburban neighborhood, and we follow these two families who have kind of known each other because the husbands of the families were co-workers, like they used to be like cops together. Them end up starting families and settling in like this typical suburban town as neighbors together, and you basically just follow both of these families and their relationship with each other, and also their internal family conflicts over the course of a long time, because the two kids from both of these families have a childhood friends to lovers story. It's so cute because you literally see them from like before they were born, and then you see them when they're like toddlers, you see them when they're like children, and you see them being neighbors, and then you see them into their adolescence. Follow like over 2 full generations from when they're younger all the way to when they're now their parents' age. It all comes to a climax on this one night where this one event happens, this kind of like triggering event that pretty much changes everything. Although a lot of things had been like leading up to it, it creates a lot of just intergenerational trauma in the rest of the book. This book is such an exploration about forgiveness and marriage, like a deep exploration, what work you need to put in to keep a relationship and like keep a marriage. I don't know, I can't explain it. Like I love this book so much. I feel like you can't know too much going into it. If like all the other books in this book recommendation video are like such a romanticization of childhood friends to lovers, I feel like this book is kind of the opposite of that, where it's like a really raw, honest, and sometimes difficult portrayal, but it's very hopeful at the end. I don't know, I just can't explain it. It was just so good. I can't even explain how touched I was by the message. By the end of this book, you'll understand what the title means, and like I literally just want to cry thinking about it. I literally am about to cry thinking. It just has to do with forgiveness, and oh my gosh, oh wait, I'm gonna cry. That's the last book on this list. That's gonna be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know any childhood friends to lovers books that you would recommend to me, because I actually do want to read a lot more, but I feel like I just don't know the good ones. Be sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and go follow me on my socials, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.